Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me better with the lapel pin in place. Lapel pin? Lapel microphone. I'm going to tidy up my household. And you can join me at that. And while I do so, I wanted to share, I guess, just share the fact that I haven't really been posting at all, or very little, on both my accounts. Obviously you're watching this from this is my personal kind of account, you can say, and I also have my work account, I guess you could say it. I don't really consider it work, but the account where I share a lot about nervous system work, somatic work, what I do basically, well, for a living. I'm not making full-time income yet from it, but eventually this will be what I'm doing entirely for a living. But that's something that I'm very passionate about, and so that's my work account. And I haven't really been extremely active on either accounts, and it's not for a lack of things to share or even a lack of time availability. I guess I could say that I don't often have a lot of energy to post, but that's definitely not the issue. The issue really has been the fact that I have a problem with being seen. I'm going to say I have a problem with it, really. I mean, it is a kind of a trauma, you can say, that I have. No, you see, if I put it closer, you can't see my head. If I put it further away, you can't really see what I'm going to be doing, but I think it'll have to do. And I will tilt it just a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so I've been increasingly becoming more and more aware of this issue. Excuse me, as I'm going to be sniffing my clothes and my boyfriend's clothes to figure out if it's clean or not. It's been becoming more and more increasingly more of an issue for me. I don't know why. I think in general I've noticed that as I'm getting older, not that I'm old by any means, but just as I am growing up and becoming more adult, I guess, my body is continuing to develop into womanhood more and more, and I'm coming closer to the years of, where biologically speaking are the best years for me to bear children. I guess maybe that's why I have been noticing patterns becoming more solidified in my life. Patterns of behavior, patterns of thinking, trauma patterns have been more and more stubborn, I can say, to work through and move out of my system. And one of those patterns and beliefs that are, very deeply ingrained. I mean, you can probably even see from my posture, I'm not exactly a very straight-backed person, I've got a bit of a muscle going on, isn't it? Not talking about that. I'm talking about my posture. This is my natural stance. Like if you just were to catch me in the wild, kind of spot me in in my natural habitat, I'll be standing like this. And I've always had this posture. And what I understand about trauma is that, especially with things like developmental trauma, as a child you are developing in places, conditions, family systems that are traumatic chronically. And so your body, as you're growing up, as you're obviously being a child, you're growing up, you're developing. If you're developing in a stressful environment, your body will be adapting to that environment. So it will be developing in response to what's going on around you. And my body has been developing in this shape because it felt like a safe pose to be in. I am quite a tall woman. I'm not like, extremely tall, but for a woman, I have generally always been one of the tallest girls in the room. Oh, you can't see me because of these jackets, actually. I'm going to take them off for now. I think that's definitely been part of my issue all my life, is that I always try to make myself smaller. Because standing next to other girls, I felt too big. Even though I've never been, in terms of my weight, big, I've always felt like my presence was bigger than of other people. And sometimes that caused people to essentially bully me. I never had like outright bullying, of kind of being beaten up or anything like that, but I have definitely felt I have been made to feel less than, and somehow wrong, I guess, and too much, and because they felt, these other girls and sometimes boys felt like, I guess, insecure in my presence. They tried to make me feel insecure about my own appearance. That's just the standard stuff, I guess. And I think in general, growing up in my family, being the youngest child, I've always often been made to feel like my opinion didn't matter and my voice was not heard many times in various circumstances. And so I grew up being used to just telling people that, if they ask me how I am, I would just say I'm fine. And when people would ask me what's happening in my life, I would just say, nothing, just the usual stuff, nothing much really. I was always, I think, quite, especially with certain people, quite secluded, and I can feel myself becoming more and more that in some ways, and so, but at the same time, I've always had this part of me that felt this abundance of energy and insight, and I always wanted to share and express and be expressive. I always loved dancing and movement. I think because I've always had a lot of energy, it needed somewhere to go, and so one of the ways in which I felt compelled to start sharing and expressing was through YouTube, and at first it was just kind of if you scroll further back on this channel, you will see I was posting my artworks, And then I started a little kind of blog because I went on my own spiritual journey, and I wanted to share that and my insights from that and stuff like that. And then so I made a separate channel for that because I thought, well, maybe this will go somewhere, and it did. Eventually I got certified as a somatic practitioner, and I healed so much of my own stuff, and not sure about this. And at some points in both those, in all those journeys, I have felt this very familiar voice and feeling of downward energy trying to compress my spine and make me small again, and letting me know that what I have to share isn't important, and why am I bothering putting things out there for other people to see? It's just a waste of space, and many other people have already said what I've said, and why do I think I'm so important that people will sit and watch my videos? Just don't bother. If this sounds familiar, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, that's also been very, very, very prominent recently. And what's interesting is that I have had so many different people I know, people I also don't know, never met them before, but they follow my channels, tell me, thank you for sharing that. Oh, I really resonate with that. I had one person say, oh, I really like how you sharing this information. It's like, it feels like it's understandable, but it's not like too deep to the point where I don't understand it. It's like people were sharing that they like how I share things, they like what I share. And I obviously have clients as well, and my clients leave me amazing testimonials, and I'm so grateful to be working with these people. But to that voice and that part of me, all of that is absolutely insignificant. And as I say this, I'm realizing how much that voice and that trauma, how much it minimizes other people's experiences too, right? It doesn't just minimize me in this instance, it minimizes the fact that other people find what I have to share valuable, and my skills valuable, and my presence valuable. And I find that really interesting, really, that it's such an overpowering thing that it really doesn't care. It doesn't care for what anyone has to say or what anyone thinks, because it's made its mind up, And that's why a lot of people, they try to override and overwrite many of their patterns of thinking and behavior with just affirmations or meditation or whatever, and they fail because that part has very little to do with how you think. And you can consistently turn your attention to the good and the positive feedback, and it still won't matter, because that part is there for a reason. And that part, in my case, is protecting me from my own fear of failure, from my own sense of insignificance. Because if I post and then nobody sees it or nobody likes it, then it's kind of like a need for validation, but it's deeper than that. It's the need to know that I exist. It's the need to know that other people know that I exist. It's the need to feel like someone cares, and it runs deeper than just this superficial need for validation. It's a bit deeper than this kind of narcissistic need. Although of course it will be coming from similar places. it's deeper than that. And of course, I mean, I say that, I mean, for if we're thinking of narcissistic people, if we really dug deep, it'll be the same for them, right? It's still going to be the same fears and needs underneath that need for validation. But anyway, you know, and what's interesting about this feeling is that, like, right now, as I'm talking to the camera, I feel quite good. I feel like I'm in this bubble almost of kind of just talking to myself, and I often do that off camera. Like, I just talk to myself, and all these thoughts kind of float out of me, and almost feels like they're not mine. They're like almost like downloads or something. Because I'm just opening my mouth and words just come. And yet, the second I turn that video off and sit down to edit it and then plan to post it, I will be filled with this sense of downward energy and this voice again, which is the reason why I have so much content in all of these different on all these different platforms. You know, my somatic work platform, I've got so many notes, I've got so many videos I've already filmed and I haven't edited and I haven't posted, and in my photography I have so many trips worth of photos and videos that I haven't even touched, because there is just this dread of putting myself out there. And I guess that fear of I mean, it's multi-layered. You know, there is a fear of, you know, what if nobody sees it again? You know, what if nobody appreciates it and it's not needed in the world? Then I'm just wasting everyone's time and space. And it's a really hard one. It's a really, really tough one to unpack. And you know, I guess I'm sharing this in part to make other people who might feel the same feel like you're not alone, and people, even people that understand fully, like myself, what this is about and how it works. It doesn't mean that just by knowing what's going on that I suddenly am able to resolve it, or that, you know, I now can just like quickly work it out. Like, it doesn't work like that, because it's so ingrained in my developmental structures as a human. It's in my posture, it's in the way I breathe, it's in the way I walk, because my skeleton and my muscle tissues were developing during the time of my life where I felt a lot like my voice didn't matter and I didn't matter. And that's just how my body, my nervous system, my brain coped. And so to simply know that this is what's happening is not enough, and it's not enough to simply sit for hours in affirmation practices. That's helpful, but on its own, it's not going to shift things. And willpowering through it also doesn't shift things, because I have willpowered through it many, many times. In the times when I have been posting consistently, that was me every single time, pretty much every single time. That was me willpowering my way through that feeling, because I feel it every single time. And what I'm realizing is that I cannot, and I do not want to be doing that all my freaking life. I just don't. But of course, you know, then you can say, well, maybe I should just like give up on it entirely. Like, why bother at all? Well, because, again, as I said before, there is another big part of me that has so much to share, and I feel like it's that's where the conflict is, because I feel like it's also such a waste not to share it. It feels like it's my soul and my being and God or universe or whatever you believe in. It feels like something bigger than me is wanting to like give, and this other part of me is saying, is just putting that bottle topper on it and saying you can't go anywhere. And that's why it's so hard, because it literally opposing forces fighting for almost like the same thing. I don't know. Yeah, and I guess there's another part to all of it, and I'm sure it's related to it all, to everything I've already said here. But the other part is just the really strong realization of how much we spend on our phones and electronic devices, and how much I hate the fact that there's so little capacity for humans to connect in any other way nowadays. And the more I spend time on my phone and online in general, the more I also notice I lose that capacity. Meeting up with people seems so much harder, and for many different reasons. And it's just so much more convenient to go online, to get that dopamine hit, to get that feeling of I'm connected to a community of a kind. It's convenient because it's at the reach of a hand, right? But the more I do that, I feel so much worse and worse and worse and worse, until yet again I feel this impulse to share and try to do something differently. And it's just this constant battle. Really, it's just that's how it feels. It feels like a real constant battle of what's the better way of doing it, what's the right way of doing it, should I do it at all, am I wasting my life because maybe I'm actually supposed to be doing something else. And it's hard. So yeah, if you are resonating with any of this, like, just know that there's nothing wrong with you. This is a really tough time to exist. And if you're younger than me, then by at least 5 years, then man, you must be struggling even more. Or I don't know, maybe less. I don't know, because I feel like my generation was still in that precipice of my childhood was offline still. And I'm really grateful for it. And maybe that's part of the reason why I find it so difficult. Maybe kids that are younger than me, maybe they actually find it a lot easier and not so intimidating, and they don't feel like their voice doesn't matter. I don't know. Let me know if you are younger than, maybe if you're like born 2000s onwards, I guess. But yeah, so I guess my strategy, if you like, going forward is I don't have one. I don't have a strategy. The only thing I know is that, and I've really understood that in other areas of my life. I'm just gonna have a little sit down because my back started hurting. There's rubbish there. There's some of the slightly nicer background there. The only thing I do know is that if it feels like a conflict and a struggle like that, the best, well, there's no really best way to work around this. You can try and willpower your way through it, and as you do that, you will unravel and uncover the opposing forces, right? Because if you will try and push, something will push back and you can face that head on. But either way, really, the way you want to work with that is to stay with those resistances, stay with that conflicting those conflicting parts, and really understand what are they protecting you from, and what is the really scary thing about them. Or for them, rather. So I think for me, even as I was talking in this video, I'm really understanding how much it's an ingrained belief, and that I need to take it slow with it. I can't speed up this process. I can't put a timeline on it. I can't make a strategy because it needs its own time. But I do also know that this is not the same as saying I'm just going to sit and wait until I feel like I suddenly want to record videos and post them consistently. Like, that's also not going to happen. I think a combination of meditation, affirmations, and somatic work, and an actual plan of action, is probably the recipe for a personal success here. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been, and not surprisingly, I do have a lot of ideas, and I'm excited about those ideas for all of my YouTube pages and Instagram and personal projects. I have so many things. Maybe partially that's overwhelming in its own right, because I feel like I don't know how to fit it all into my life. But I do have some really exciting things that I would like to start doing. So yeah, I hope you stick around for those. And I'll try to show up more and be more myself. Because actually, the reason I restarted, I don't know, a few months ago now, maybe at the start of this year, I restarted posting on this channel really because I felt like my other channel has become so... It's been so difficult, and so much willpower had to go into making those videos that I felt like I needed somewhere to go and just be myself. And in the process of trying to restart this YouTube, I'm realizing how much I struggled just to be myself at all. Because this is the place for me just to be me, and that voice, maybe that's why the voice got even louder, because I told myself, well, now I have the space to be myself, and maybe there's a deeper sense of low self-worth is creeping up as a result of that, perhaps. But yeah, I will continue trying to explore this, and let's see whether you will see more of me or not. I guess that will be the ultimate show of whether I've worked through this part or not, through this aspect of my being and my inner conflict. Yeah, we'll see. But if you have watched this, if you're subscribed, if you know me in person, then thank you for being here. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Maybe you will see me in a new project kind of format. We'll see. But yeah, I hope to get a lot of different travel videos across to you at some point soon. And if you don't follow me on Instagram for my photography page, and you like photography and landscapes, then follow me there. It's called Photos by Maria, and I will hopefully be posting from literally years worth of archives of photos, and I'm continuing to travel, so I've got more and more. But yeah, if you're into that, then follow me there. I've started this year. I've started taking pictures on an analog camera, film camera, and I really love it. I'm going to expose my first 2 films that I've finished now, fill them up. I'm going to expose them in the next couple of weeks. Maybe I'll make a video about that as well. That'll be quite cool. And yeah, so there's a lot I'm excited about. It's just yeah, working through that knot in my belly that just doesn't let me show up more how I would like to. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll just crack on tidying off camera and have a good day, evening, morning, wherever you are. And yeah, see you in the next one.